Hey, Winnie.
Hello, Anson.
Do you know something about Microsoft?
Yes, of course. Microsoft is a very wealthy company and Bill Gates is a pretty rich fellow.
Oh, you were right. So how about Richard Stallman?
Richard Stallman? As I know, he is an American software freedom activist and computer programmer. In addition, he created a GNU project in the Free Software Foundation. He initiated the free software movement as well.
Really? He is so outstanding.
Yeah, he is. By the way, do you know what is the open source movement?
Yes, I do. But not pretty much. I know that the open source movement is a broad-reaching movement of individuals who feel that software should be produced altruistically.
And you also know that Microsoft makes money by designing, writing and selling software, right?
Yes. But is there any contact with the open source movement?
Sure, there are some people who do this for free. In face, there's a whole movement devoted to it. And it's called the open source movement.
Oh, it's interesting. Can you tell me more about that, such as the history?
In the late 1970s and early 1980s, two different groups were establishing the roots of the current open source software movement. As I told before, on the East Coast, Richard Stallman, formerly of the MIT iLab, created a GNU project in the Free Software Foundation.
Oh, it's pretty cool. How about now?
The term open source is understood today is in part due to the creation of OSI. The term open source was formulated by a number of open source users and chosen over the already existing terms of free shareware. The term was decided upon for a good reason, in that the advantage of using the term open source is that the business world usually tries to keep free technologies from being installed.
What are the impacts of the open source movement?
There are 5 impacts of the open source movement. First, it should be the absence of a license fee. Most universities annually pay large sums to software companies to use their products, but open source licenses are free.
I agree with you. What's more?
Second, its flexibility. Open source products are customizable and can involve third parties. New features and tools can be imported from the open source community. Then, it should be the service continuity. The huge collaborative network of the open source community minimizes, although it does not eliminate, the risk of discontinued service. Volunteer help is available through open source support systems such as forums.
How about the continuous improvement?
It's what I want to say. Continuous improvement. Extensive collaboration ensures that software products keep improving. Programmers from different institutions and organizations, along with volunteers, contribute freely to projects. The last one is tax benefits. Governments of many countries have implemented tax exemption policies to boost open source projects, although the governmental role in promoting open source software is controversial.
It sounds good. I never know about that. You are knowledgeable.
Thank you.
Can I say some thought about the open source movement?
Of course, you can.
In my opinion, the open source products have gained considerable currency in the realm of higher education. The question remains, nevertheless, what is the future of open source software in higher education? From a commercial perspective, open source projects are taking their first tentative steps into the marketplace. This might be good news for universities, because it would remove the threat of market monopolization, but to measure up to industry standards, open source projects need more sophistication.
Yes, I have the same idea with you.
Oh, Winnie, I like to talk with you. But I have class after 5 minutes. See you next time.
Okay, bye Tilda.